friends, and welcome to another episode of Dark Side of the Word, a weekly podcast for all the dark story lovers. And I'm here with my co-host CJ, my brainy co-host CJ. Almost forgot the word.
I was going to say, you almost forgot an adjective. Hello, everybody.
I am distracted by my third co-host. We have a new co-host on the podcast.
It's our mascot.
So this is Hubble, and I'm Kait, because I also missed that mark.
I also missed that you missed that mark. It is, as usual, it is a recording day for us, and this is just how life is. A little scatterbrained, a little off the cuff.
Like
we forget our own names.
Like my son, begging for attention.
Yep, exactly.
He's
I
like,
can't see him, though.
No, he just laid down.
Oh.
Thank God. He's asking where his pelota is, and if you need to know what that is, it is Spanish for B-A-L-L, and I cannot say it here.
That is smart. That is smart. Okay.
All right, friends, what is the first Thursday of the month? And it is time for us to talk to report live from the trenches of writing. We are reporting live in a 6-foot deep trench, fighting for our creative lives.
With no shovels. No shovels at all.
No. This is why my nails look like crap. But yes, so hopefully we can inspire you, maybe lend some advice, or make you not feel so alone on this journey. That's my hope. But as usual, because I like to throw her under the bus right away. How you doing, CJ?
I am dying a slow death due to allergy season. How are you doing?
I am dying a slow death not related to allergies, but a different sickness that I do not know what it is.
That is unfortunate.
But CJ, how is the writing life going? We don't care you had allergies.
We don't care about allergies. Okay. So I am still recovering from my vacation in France, and I'm trying to catch up on the blog, so I'm a little behind on recipes right now. So I have not been doing any writing for either the Ghost Children book or for anything else.
Boo.
But I have been exploring a new publishing... I know. Eventually. I have been exploring a new publishing avenue for Hoogly Ever After, and it is hybrid publishing, which is something I discovered only a month ago, and I've gone down a rabbit hole of research because the idea of this model really intrigues me.
She has gone down this massive rabbit hole that I have made her rein this conversation because we need to do a whole technical podcast on it, friends. We have lots to dish.
There is lots to talk about, and the deeper I go, the more I seem to uncover. So I am very excited for that technical podcast episode. But for today, I will just give a quick overview. So hybrid publishing is basically like a compromise between self-publishing and traditional publishing. Basically, both parties put skin in the game. The author can do this with money, and the publisher does this with services and sometimes money. So my big writing news for the month is that I had a meeting with a hybrid publishing company, and they offered me a publishing contract for Hoogly Ever After.
We're going to take a moment. We're going to pat her on the back. We're going to round of applause her because this is still a huge milestone.
It is a huge milestone. After I got that email and I saw the proposal and the contract, I was just kind of like, this is, after all the queries and all the roadblocks and all the revisions, the workshops, the rejections, just saying the words that somebody wants to publish Hoogly Ever After is fucking magical because I didn't think it would ever get to this point.
I'm so proud of you.
Yay. Thank you.
I'm being on this journey with you. I'm proud of you.
So obviously I cannot share the name of the company, but I did my research, and this company is one of the top hybrid publishers out there right now, and they have been for about a decade. And what I will say is that everything seemed perfect when it was happening. Like the stars were aligning, and there were so many good points about this opportunity. And after meeting with the editor there and then talking it over with my husband, with Kait, and with my therapist, I was convinced this was it. I wasn't getting an agent because I was meant to publish the hybrid way, to be a trailblazer and try a different, more author-focused model of publishing and pave the way for all the would-be hybrid authors out there everywhere.
Guys, I was about to follow her on this path too. She was selling it to me.
And then I saw the price. So this particular publication opportunity, which basically consists of a basic package, no add-ons, and a basic developmental editorial package, because my book is it's in good shape already, would cost me, drum roll, $30,000.
No shock
Holy
over
fucking
here.
shit.
I already knew the price. I don't have a shock face. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But just so you know, $30,000 is pretty much the entire budget for publishing a book. Publishing a book takes about $30,000 to $45,000, depending on the book. And this publisher was upfront with me. I was told there would likely be no ROI. If I put the money into publishing Hoogly Ever After with them, I would not make back, or probably not make back the money I put out. And I actually talked to an author who has published with them before. And she said that she is very happy with the press. She loves her book. It looks like a real book. It was a great process. She's actually happier than it seems a lot of her friends who have published traditionally are now. But she's not making money off of this. And if I did this, I wouldn't be able to get money. And if I were going to be a one and done author, this might work for me, even at that price. But I am looking to build a career as a prolific author. I have 4 books written. I want to write more. I can't be shelling out $30,000 every time I want to publish a book. I need a publisher that is going to not even just pay me, but cover all the expenses.
All right, I'm going to pause and let's do some math for a minute, okay? Just to give our listeners an idea of like what getting your money back is really hard. So traditional published authors before prices of books went up, we're getting about $1 for a hardback book. And say you get the same amount. I don't know what amount you're getting doing this. I'm sure it's probably more. I know self-published authors make a certain percentage, but say something more. But I'm just going to say you get $1. So you would have to sell 30,000 books just to get your money back. Not to make more money. Now, to put in perspective, I forget which author I saw, but one of the authors that made the New York Times bestsellers list, like had tons of pre-orders and everything, her numbers for the New York Times bestsellers list was like 27,950.
Wow.
So that is like
That's
a traditional,
crazy.
that was an author that was like massively advertised, had the backing of a major publishing company. I think it was like Wednesday Books was the publisher. Like, we're talking everywhere. They paid for the front shelf at like Barnes & Noble. They worked with a book box. They had the whole works, and her New York Times bestseller was only almost 28,000 books. So for a self-published author with no name behind them, sorry, you know what I mean?
No, totally true. I'm an unknown person.
You don't have like, you're not insta famous
Not
right
a
now.
celebrity or something.
Yeah. Spending $30,000 on a book, they are very accurate. You probably will not get your money back.
No. Absolutely
perspective.
not. Absolutely not.
I mean, even if it's $5 back, you'd still have to sell 15,000 bucks.
And like $30,000, that is a shitload of money. I could do a lot of other things, really helpful, useful things with $30,000 and publish a book that 10 people might read. No. So, yes, I received a publishing offer from a publisher, and I turned it down. And that was probably one of the hardest things I have ever had to do in my writing life, because even though it's not financially feasible, so much about this publisher was right for me, for my book, for the story I want to tell, for the stories I want to tell in future. And it just really broke my heart, because this could have been something really great if it weren't for the money. The good news that comes out of this is that I had an ego boost. I got really positive feedback on my story, on my character, on my writing style. And even though I've gotten some great feedback from agents, it was really nice to have a reputable publisher want to publish my book and have my work associated with them. It gave me the confidence that, yes, this book can sell. It has a market out there, even if the agents I'm reaching out to are not able to see it. A publisher saw it. An editor saw it. More than one editor saw it. And somebody else will see it too. So I am actually still looking at other hybrid publishing models and companies. I got accepted for publication to another major hybrid publisher out there, and I'm meeting with them next week to discuss my options. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I never thought I would be down this road, and it is exciting and scary and somewhat depressing, but not as depressing as agent rejections, because at least you get some positive feedback.
So, if you want to know more about what hybrid publishing means, because you're like, what the hell is this?
Right. Which is how I was when I first heard about it.
Because I do pre-screening, I've seen a lot of hybrid publishing in my freelance work, and now that CJ has this experience, we wanted to share a few more details about what the process looks like, what it really is, what are our thoughts about it, what's the difference between this and self-publishing all yourself. So, make sure to tune into this month's technical podcast, which is about like the third Thursday of the month. I think we have the 4 Thursdays this month.
Oh, is it one of those months?
I don't know. I didn't check. But just keep an eye out, friends. We will...
It's coming.
It's coming. It's this month.
It's
you
coming.
Don't have to wait.
You want to hear about it. You want to know. Just stay tuned. Keep listening.
Yes. So make sure to follow us and subscribe and do all that so you don't miss out on that, because I think that we are going to provide hopefully some useful information for you.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, it was a very exciting day when she told me all this. I loved that phone call.
Yeah, Kait was, just so everybody knows, Kait was fantastic. She was, number one, super excited for me. And a huge champion. And then number two, she was fucking down to business. She's like, all right, this is what we got to consider. And like, I work in publishing. I work with agents. Like, I know what the questions I should be asking. And I thought of none of them. Because I was just blinded by, someone wants to publish my book. And she was just like, no, we have to figure out a strategy. We need to know what we're going to ask them. And she was fantastic. So friends, get yourself a CP because they got your back when you need it the most.
Thank you, friends.
Thank you, friends.
Yes,
Heart, I did
it. Yay! We're such goobers.
It's not just a hamburger, it's a heart.
But that's actually a really good point. We should bring up some of our questions that we had. Not that you'll answer them, but like if someone else decides to go hybrid, we can share some of the questions that we put together to discuss as well. But I will say this, I never expected this phone call, for one. And two, like for CJ to say anything close to self-publishing, even hybrid and all this, I'm just like, I thought I was going to be the one to do it first and I was going to break first. And here she is calling me and I'm just like, damn you, girl, I'm supposed to do it first.
It just seems like a really good middle ground for all the artists out there who want to get published and have so many great stories to tell that aren't in that Target bookshelf mold right now, you know? And I hope this area of publishing grows and becomes more reputable and more viable for people because it's a really great option and I am falling in love with it. So
exactly. And like you said, maybe we don't fit the mold, but clearly they thought your book had an audience, and that's just to show you that don't always trust the agents, people. So that is my writing update, which I think is big enough to just be like one and done. So, Kait, what is your writing update for this month? So I had two kind of distinct topics that I wanted to talk about because my writing update's kind of boring, so I wanted to explore my life as a writer at the moment. Ooh. But I have I have not bumbled in a while. I have not gone blah, blah, blah in a while.
I am a bumblebee.
But I haven't done it in a while. So for those that are missing it on their bingo card, blah, 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 blah. So the first thing I want to talk about was consistency. It is our favorite word as artists. Consistency. It is not something that I have ever been equated to me. I mean, I think CJ knows this.
You're not consistent. You're consistently my friend.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. But in terms of my work, in terms of social media, blog, writing, everything, business side of things.
Okay, I see that. Yeah.
She agreed way too easily to that woman.
It's true. Social media. I feel like you shouldn't be held accountable for social media because that is just a negativity spiral suck, and no one wants to be consistent with that because it just kills your soul. So you are exempt from that. You are consistent in other ways.
Thank you, but like you were just singing my praises, and now you're just like, yeah.
We're all multifaceted creatures, and I am just acknowledging the duality within you.
Well, one of the key things, I'm ignoring you. One of the key things about being a creative is being able to be consistent because it's about getting our butt in the chair. Even if we're only writing 100 words a day, that's still 100 words to us getting our goal. And so something that I've really been working on the past month is being extremely consistent. And I hate to be this person and naysay everything everyone has ever said about romanticizing writing and finding the perfect writing space and all this shit, because moving across country and back home and setting up my house has been life-changing for me. And I know CJ kind of said that. She said when she bought her first house, she suddenly had a comfort and a safety feeling that she was able to be more vulnerable and creative in her work. And I have to say that that's partly kind of true for me now. Is that...
That's so great. I love hearing that.
You're welcome. See, I'm singing your praises. And I don't know, it's just we've had a massive life shift. Being in a place that is home for me, being in a place that I have really developed my office space, I just... you know, if you're using like, oh, I have to have the perfect flavored tea and candlelit to be able to write, okay, maybe that's taking it too far. But if you're really saying that this is not a space that I can be creative in and be successful in, maybe there's some truth in that. And I'm going to say yes. So I needed romancing, and I'm here now with romancing, and I'm being very consistent because I have sent CJ chapters every 2 weeks like I've wanted to. I have been consistent with social media.
You have.
I mean, I could probably blame all this on Zoloft as well, but, you know, we're just going to say it's because I moved. Yes, my drugs are getting perfectly set.
It's a huge deal to have a space where you feel safe and comfortable and just at home, you know. And I know a lot of writers are nomadic and they like to travel for their writing, which is great. But, and not to say that we can't travel, you know, you can do writing retreats in different places. But I think just knowing that you have a place where you feel safe and at home to come back to, for me, that's a huge benefit because I can be myself. I don't have to worry. So I'm so glad that you have found that place and that space to write, and that it's just really helping you have everything come alive, because that is absolutely wonderful.
I think it also really comes down to is that I have such love for where I live. And it's not because now I own the home, which I am so thankful, and I know how much a gift that is right now in the current climate that I was able to buy a house. But I walk in and I have such massive outpouring of joy and love, and I'm just constantly walking around my house to the annoyment of my partner going, I love my house, I love my house, I love my house, I love your house, I love your house. Like, there's just so much joy here and comfort into the space that I'm in, and I think that is directly like leaning towards why I feel now have an ability to be creative and vulnerable. I have an ability to sit comfortably in my writing couch and put the work in.
While, you know, alcoholism and depression can be great for some writers, like Hemingway, there's something to be said about happiness and contributing to great writing too.
Yes. Wow, that is such a good point. I didn't even think about that. Yes, friends.
You're happy.
I am one of the most disturbed people in my head, okay? I'm taking that claim, because if you saw my House of Horrors and you knew my backstory, you'd be like, what the fuck? But happiness is where I'm creative.
Yeah, happiness is a good color on you.
Thank you. This is just like the lovey-dovey episode. Like, god damn it.
It is.
But I also want to remind you, friends, I always talk about routines and all this stuff and getting into habit and all of that. And I wanted to let you guys know that my routine has extremely changed from what I thought it would ever be since moving here. And so we have to be open to creative solutions. Don't laugh. I know you know where that's coming from.
Yeah.
We need to be open to creative ideas and change. So if something's not working for you and you're too set in your ways of this is how I have to write, just remember creativity and how you write and how you get to things, because from where I was in Washington and how I was writing and being consistent to how I am writing and being consistent now, the world has shifted a lot. And it's very different. But in being here and being a lot happier with my consistency and really like putting the product out there, I actually have felt like a serious artist. I have felt like a serious person working in this space. And okay, so I went to this lake party last weekend. And
a what party?
A lake party. I sent you a picture.
I thought you said a slate party where you had to bring like your own slate to write on or something. Okay, lake party.
So I went to the lake party, and I was meeting a bunch of new people, and they were like, oh, what do you do? And I'm just like...
Oh, the dreaded question.
And I walked away from that, because I said artist. I say artist a lot, because I don't know, I like being called an artist. I do more than just writing.
Yeah.
And I decided that I don't want to do that anymore. And now my thing is I'm a writer and podcaster.
Oh, I like that.
Yes, for the moment. And I'm just really claiming that. I am Taylor Swift's song, I Did It With a Broken Heart, of like fake it till you make it and show up. That is my anthem right now. It's like, okay, I'm going to fake this till I make it, and that means I am a writer/podcaster.
Okay, good. You own that. That is huge, because I have a huge problem with saying that when people ask me, what do you do? I don't say I'm a writer. I don't say I'm a podcaster or blogger. It never even occurs to me actually to say podcaster, because even though I am a co-host with you, I view this as more your podcast. And I don't think of myself as a podcaster. But I've been trying to do that. I've been trying to introduce myself more as a creative. So thank you for the inspiration. I will try harder.
Well, listeners, I need you to comment below and tell CJ she is an idiot because she is a podcaster. Okay?
I'm trying.
We are equal co-hosts in this. If you left, there would be no more podcasts.
There would still be a podcast because you could talk to yourself.
No.
Which would still be entertaining.
No, you are equal parts of this.
Okay, well, thank you.
You are equal parts woman, okay? So, I mean, it was kind of cool because one of the conversations I really had to own who I was and my belief systems with this person. And, yeah, that was a good conversation. So that gave me inspirement, okay? Then the last thing I want to talk about, my dear friend CJ, which I did not clear with her before we talked about this. I hope she's not mad at me.
I just want panicky. I'm already short of breath. Don't do this to me.
I just want to touch on the conversation I had with my other friend about the critique partners reading genres. Okay. We're good. She's wiping her brow.
Too late now anyway, because we've already started talking about it. So I will just have to be okay.
So
I am fine.
Good. The other thing that CJ and I have been dealing with in the past month is actually critiques back on our book. I know that she's had it from her other critique group because, yes, she has others. It's not just me, even though I'm the best. But it was. I got into this really interesting conversation with a friend about say genres such as horror, sci-fi, fantasy, and all that versus genres such as, I'm going to use the nomenclature, women's fiction, literature, historical fiction, and even just the nomenclature literature, like literary fic, okay?
Nomenclature, that is a big word that I did not even know existed.
Oh, shit. I was hoping I was going to ask you if I used it right.
Nomenclature?
Yes.
Nomenclature. Glad I could bring something to the podcast.
Yes, I am a writer, friends.
I know words good. We speak good.
As I say, I'm an engineer first, writer second.
That's why I'm your copy editor.
Get your friends a copy editor, friends. Except she missed a copy edit. I know she's not reading my book for copy edits, but when I was reviewing her comments in the last chapters, I said there was a blaring copy edit that I'm so surprised she did not catch.
You tell me not to look for that stuff. You're telling me to look for, like, plot. So I'm trying to turn off copy editor CJ, which, by the way, is so friggin' hard because
I know, because you still slide them in. You still slide them in, so I was just surprised. I know. That slid
I try not to. So that's not why I'm there.
But also, like, I caught it. Let's be honest, I got this one after. Anyway, thank you, Grammarly. That was, our sponsor. I'm just kidding. But anyway, so I was talking to my friend about the difference about reading sci-fi fantasy versus the other genres that I mentioned. Because I noticed something that because CJ's been working very much in the realm of women's fic, her critique group is more women's fic, and now she's writing more of a women's fic horror book, and I'm writing a very sci-fi book. I was seeing a disconnect in her reading my chapters where she was wanting more backstory and more information. And I agree with her that there are areas that I can see that needing to be done. But I just kept telling her, keep reading. The point of all this is to tell you guys that when you pick a critique partner, make sure you pick one that reads the genre that you write in or is a reader of the genre that you're in. Because here's was the problem. She had lived in the world of romance, women's fic, historical fiction, and women and all this stuff that she was... The point in the arc of those stories are a character's growth. Historical fiction, we want all of the backstory of the war at that moment because we're reading to watch a character go from point A to point B in a historical event. Same with romance. We know that the world mostly exists in our realm. Maybe there's some changes, but they mostly exist in our realm. And the point of reading the book, the thing that gets the reader to turn the page is the arc of the romance and the story. You could go women's fic, the arc of the character, thrillers, who done it is the point. But with sci-fi, fantasy, and horror, the point of keeping the reader turning the page is the mystery behind what is happening in the world. What's going on? Why is magic able to be used with cards and not something else? Why are people being murdered for having magic? Why is there a space station in space? Like, that, yeah. Yes, we like character arcs and that's important and everything, but the reason that people keep turning the page is that we don't know what's happening in this world. And I saw that with some of the early stuff CJ was reading of mine, and I especially saw it with some of her critiques back from her people saying that they wanted more backstory about like a side character, and it was like, well, no, you don't need that because we don't need to know all of that in a horror style book. Yeah. I hope you don't mind me saying it's horror. You're writing it as a woman's fic horror, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So it was just a really interesting conversation, and I loved having it with my friend, and I loved sharing it with CJ, and it just gave me kind of like a nod of I should remind our listeners that they need to pick a CP partner no matter how much you love the person. Pick someone who reads in your genre. And I am extremely lucky because CJ is a massive horror reader.
Yes.
So even though she doesn't read sci-fi, the whole arc of the storyline is still the same. And so that's why she still works very perfectly for me, and we love her to death, and she's putting up with my sci-fi books.
Your sci-fi books aren't like the sci-fi that I tend to stay away from. It's not like...
Well, you haven't read my space station sci-fi book yet.
That's true. That one may be a little hard for me to take.
It's very horror. There's a lot of goods.
Okay.
There's a lot of death. There's a lot of scary.
Yeah, I just don't love everything taking place in space. Though I watch Doctor Who a lot. I watch other things, so I've gotten into it more. I'm a closet nerd, aren't I? I'm just not ready to come out of the nerd closet yet.
I'm going to like kind of play your card. Didn't you start looking into D&D?
Maybe. Yes. Okay, yes, I did, and I loved it. It was wonderful. Okay, I see your point.
Okay, you get a pass because D&D is about storytelling. Okay. I mean, we also watched Stranger Things and got hooked. But yes, so friends, find your critique partner that you can relate with, that you trust, and who reads your genre. But I'm so lucky to have CJ, and I will force her to read whatever, right? Because she's amazing. So that's what I have to say.
All right, and I agree with that, definitely. I am very lucky that even though Kait doesn't love women's fiction, she's just exceptionally good at being able to edit it and edit any story and tell what is missing from the story. So I lucked out with that. And now it's fantastic that she loves horror and sci-fi for the book I'm working on. But I have hit problems with other people who don't read the same genre and they just don't understand the way the story is supposed to go. And, Kait and I were discussing it the other day, how there's so much, rom-com and thrillers right now that are saturating the marketplace. It makes sense that a lot of people's expectations for other books are going to be set by those. So you're expecting quick romance, quick domestic, suspense and like bodies dropping everywhere. And that action isn't going to be in every single book, and nor should it be. So definitely choose your critique partners wisely and just temper your expectations for whatever book you're reading / critiquing.
Exactly. And friend, you have been the kindest soul to me today, and I just have to gush over you. And I love you.
It's the love podcast.
It is. I'm just letting everyone know how much I love you.
It's because you told me my hair looked nice today, so I'm just in love with you because you complimented my hair. My vanity has been appealed to, so I'm in a good mood.
Well, friends, thank you so much for listening to this episode. Don't forget, June's book club read is... I have it right here. I'm so excited to have my hands on it.
You're so excited about this book.
I am so excited about this book. Please don't disappoint me, okay? Okay. My Darling Dreadful Thing by Joanna Van Veen. I keep wanting to say Von Veen, but Van
You can
Veen.
be fancy and say Von Veen. That's okay. Von Veen.
Von Veen. Maybe that's right. I don't know. But don't forget to use one of our bookshop links below if you don't have your copy yet. We get a small kickback at no extra cost to you. It helps us keep the lights on. But thank you so much for listening to The Dark Side of the Word, a dark podcast for all the dark story lovers. If you are watching us on YouTube, please subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. We're also audio only on Spotify, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. So make sure to follow and answer the specific polls and questions that we have on Spotify. Happy reading, friends. Bye!
Bye.